Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to USA Global TV in the United Kitchens. I am Ricki McKenna. I am a certified nutritionist and a foodie and chef for many, many, many years, more than 20, let's put it that way. And I welcome you to my kitchen. This is Ricki's Kitchen. And today I want to wish everybody a post-happy Thanksgiving. I hope that everyone enjoyed wherever you were, enjoyed the fruits of the land and some good friendship. And really, I want to say that I am very grateful and very thankful for Dr. Jacalyn and this whole presentation, the whole program, and reaching out to everyone wherever you are in the world. And enjoy. We're going to have a little fun today because everybody has leftovers. So what we're going to do is take those leftovers and do what I call left is right, which means if it's left over, we'll make it right and we'll do something new with it. So onward we go. I just want to let you know we do have aprons for purchase, and they're wonderful gifts for the holidays. If you're wondering what to give somebody, give them a great big old apron that keeps their clothes clean. And you can reach me at rickiskitchen.net, where you will find the apron. You'll also find a great little coffee cup, as well as my book, which is behind me. Yes, you can eat well and eat right. So much for the commercials, and let's get on with the fun. So I'm going to actually move the apron over here. And since I've got my trusty chef coat on, this is my love coat. And today what happened was, of course, we had a very traditional, it was really very interesting, hasn't happened in years, a very traditional Thanksgiving, which included a beautifully roasted turkey, a traditional stuffing, actually using breadcrumbs and onions and whatever else went into it. And it came out absolutely delicious. Fortunately, for once, I did not have to cook, but I did anyway. I made a wonderful pear tart, and I'll show you how we did that, just slicing pears, lots of different pears and layers of pears. And we added butter, we added brandy, we added cinnamon, and I ground up some ginger snaps for on top. So it was really very simple, but very delicious as one of our desserts. So here we have a bunch of the traditional leftovers. We had, I'm not sure you can see it all. We've got the turkey, we have the stuffing, the cranberry sauce, sweet potatoes, and we did even have mashed potatoes as well. So it was a very traditional Thanksgiving, and the food was delicious, as was the company. It was wonderful. So what I'm going to do today, and I said that I was not going to make turkey soup. However, since my hostess decided she was going to toss the carcass of the turkey, which was quite large, and it was over 20 pounds. We had about 8 people. So I took the carcass home with me. And what do you do with the carcass of a turkey? You put it into your crock pot. I'm sure you can see the crock pot. It's pretty big. And what I'd love to do, I'm going to show you how the soup came out, just because it's turkey soup. And it's one quick thing that you can make. And we'll go to the other camera, and I can show you up close and personal how that came out, because it really did come out good, if I say so myself. And I haven't seasoned it up yet, but I'm in the process of doing that, so you can watch while we do that. At first, we're going to make some other things today from the leftover turkey besides the soup. And here we have the soup. I'm sure you can see that. It's actually more like stew. It has turkey, and I chopped up, I've actually removed most of the bones. Hopefully I got most of the bones out. But you can see there are carrots, there's onions, there's celery, the traditional way to make a turkey soup. And I've already added about, there's a good quart and a half in here, if not 2 quarts of soup. It's almost like stew, it's so thick. And I'm going to add, I did add thyme. I don't know if you can see that, fresh thyme. And I also added some dried thyme. We're going to add some pepper. That's always good. And one of the other spices that I added that was not very traditional, but it's actually traditional for chicken, I added some paprika. We're going to add a little bit more paprika. Whoops, not that much. About a teaspoonful. You can always add more, so start small. And there's fresh garlic that's been in there. So now I've got salt, pepper, and thyme and paprika. And that may be just enough to season it really well. I have found that thyme is one of the best herbs to use with any kind of fowl, whether it's chicken or Cornish hen. We're going to add about a teaspoon of kosher salt, maybe just a little more. That's all I've got in there. Time to replenish. I did not add any salt before, so what I'm doing now is just adding the salt, because I did taste it, of course, first, and we'll mix it up quite well. And as you know, if you do a crock pot overnight, it stays hot. It does retain the heat, which this, oh yeah, it definitely has. And I think we'll give that a little taste. Let me get my tasting spoon. Oops, here we go. That's interesting, because I would have added more salt, but be really careful when you're adding salt not to overdo it. So now we're going to remove that. And I'll tell you why you got to be real careful adding salt. Because in many cases, the salt will not, especially the kosher salt, which is kind of chunky, it will not dissolve completely for a little while. So once you put it in there, let it settle. Let those flavors come out of those herbs, the paprika and the thyme. And I could add a little more thyme, but I'm going to see what happens with the flavors. So there's the turkey soup. And now what I'd love to do, I'm going to cut up a little bit of an onion. We had some leftover. I'm going to take the leftover turkey and I'm going to make a turkey burger, which is kind of fun because it's already cooked. But what this does is this takes the flavors and the chunky stuff from the turkey. And we're going to just cut up an onion and dice it up a little bit. Okay. Now, what else can you make from all the leftovers? Oh my gosh, it's almost an endless thing. Because I've hard-boiled an egg, and of course we can make turkey salad, in which I would put the hard-boiled egg as well as some celery, and we'll do a scallion. And I have some shiitake mushrooms that we're going to put into the turkey burger. And as you know, it's already cooked, so it's going to be kind of interesting to do this. It's going to have a little different flavor than if you were to cook it raw as a burger. But we're still going to put it in a pan on top of the stove and cook it that way. But I'm going to dice my onion up pretty finely. And you can use red onion as well as a yellow or white onion. That's up to you. Whatever you have left in the refrigerator, that's fine. Now, normally I would take more onion, But since I'm not using a whole pound of turkey, we're going to figure out what I've got. I'll probably use about or a little bit more of the turkey. So I want to get that nice and finely diced. There we go. And then we'll take, okay, here comes the turkey. As soon as I get a fork. Now, I've got what were obviously leg bones. They're big. So you're going to take the turkey off there carefully. Or actually not so carefully. We'll just cut it off with a knife. And make sure that we're going to get our dark meat and our light meat mixed. Unless you're somebody who doesn't care for dark meat. I happen to like the flavor of the dark meat. I think there's more flavor in the dark meat. And we'll get that off the bone. There we go. And I'm just going to chop it up right in with the onion so we get everything incorporated here. And let's see. I actually forgot that I had more bones in the leftover dish here, or I would have put these in the soup last night, but I can still put them in the soup and let them brew for a little while. There's no problem with that since it's all already cooked. So you can add to the soup, which is what I shall do. There we go. Those two nice big leg bones are going right back in the soup. And I'm going to finely chop up the combination of the turkey and the onions. And I think we'll make one dark meat burger, which is kind of fun because you have your choice here. And I'm going to chop it up as finely as I can. I don't want to grind it because I want this to be kind of a chunky burger. And I know that there's a few people out there who are saying, okay, what do you put it together with? Well, I'll show you. There are several ways to do this. We're going to put it in a bowl. And so I've got my chopped up turkey, which is cooked. And oops. Let's see what else we can put in. I think we're going to go through the leftovers here. We can also make a light or a white meat one. Just for fun and flavor, I'm going to take some of the stuffing and cut that up a little bit. And the stuffing, and actually I grabbed some green beans too. We had a little bit of a variation on the traditional green beans for Thanksgiving because the person who made the green beans used the wide Italian beans. They're flat, wide green beans, and they're absolutely delicious. So we've got a little bit of stuffing here and a little bit of green beans with some onion. And of course, all the flavors blend beautifully, so there's no problem putting them in together to make our burgers. All righty. And actually, I'm going to chop up a little bit of scallion, the tops, just for fun and flavor. I'm going to chop them up finely. And if you have more than one scallion left over, go for it. I'm just going to use the green part right now because we do have onions in there. And I want to see what the flavors do when we bring the green onion in there. And a little bit of raw celery just for crunch because it will be a little more crunchy than the cooked, of course. So we'll just chop that up finely. Now, I do have a hard-boiled egg, but I think I'm going to save that for something else. So I'm going to take a raw egg and mix it in with the turkey and everything else that's already cooked here, but that's what's going to help glue it all together. And there we go. We've got our Celery. I've got about maybe a couple of tablespoons of celery. And we have about, I think it was about a cup of turkey. I can add a little more. Actually, I think I will. Just chop up the turkey a wee bit more. This is called intuitive cooking. And we know that all the flavors from the meal, the traditional meal, blend beautifully. So making our little burger here shouldn't be a problem with all the flavors together. Unless you have a fussy person who doesn't like all their flavors together. So I'm going to mix it up. Make sure I get everything in there. The raw scallions and the raw celery, in addition to all the cooked stuff. There we go. Now you could call this a turkey salad if you wanted to and eat it that way. Let's see. However, get my hands clean. I'm going to grab a raw egg because that's what will help hold everything together. And I'm also going to grab a leftover roll. These are the butter rolls that everybody buys in packages. And we had a couple of them left over. So what I'm going to do with this is open it up. They're a butter roll, as I said. Put a little bit of water on it. And then I'm going to squish it in. This also helps to glue everything together when you're cooking it as a burger. So we're going to shred it into the mixture of turkey and all the trimmings. Here we go. I might need a little bit more water in there. Don't want to put too much liquid in it because I'm going to put the egg in and that should help hold it together. Okay. There we go. Whoop. Too big chunk. And that was just one roll with at least a cup of turkey and the rest of the trimmings. So, and you can use your judgment on doing this. Here we go. We'll mix it all together. Now remember that the seasonings are already in the turkey and the other things that are in here, but feel free to add some seasonings if you want to. I'm going to give it a taste to see what kind of seasonings are in there and what are discernible tasting it, because then I want to see what I want to use to pick up the flavors. Okay. Fortunately, the people who did the green beans, person who did the green beans, didn't over salt, which was excellent, because salt is something that anybody can always add. So what I'm going to do is take a little more salt, and it's rather interesting because right now it tastes quite sweet, but that's just the meat. So I'm going to add about, not quite a half a teaspoon, maybe a little more than a quarter teaspoon of salt. And get my pan ready with a teeny bit of olive oil. And just to give it some extra flavor and make it a wee bit more different, I'm going to grab an egg. And excuse me for not having that ready, but I just decided that's what I'm going to put in. Egg. Okay. So now we will put, this will help, as I say, glue it together. When you're making burgers, you want the stuff to stick together to make the patties. And we'll be able to make a couple of good patties from this. There we go. You can see it's getting juicy, but it will stick together beautifully. Okay, let's see what else we have here. You know what I think I'm going to do? Particularly because shiitakes are so good for you. I think that the mushroom and turkey and all the rest of the flavors that are in here will blend beautifully together in a burger. It's almost like you could make a turkey meatloaf if you wanted to. But since everything is already cooked, it lends itself to really making a burger. There we go. Okay. I am going to take a couple of the shiitakes and just chop those up a little bit, then add to the bowl. There we go. And have a drink while I'm doing it. FYI, it's water. Okay, here we go. Taking my stems off, just going to put a few of these in here. The advantage, pardon me, to the mushrooms is that mushrooms are extremely good for you. They're good for your brain. They're a good source of vitamin D. They're a good source of minerals. And shiitake in particular are quite medicinal. They help as an anti-inflammatory in your system. They do a bunch of other things too, and I'm not going to go into all the nutrition now. I'm just going to add them to the goodies here. So we're chopping up a little bit of any kind of mushroom will do. I just happen to have shiitakes. If you have baby bella or white mushrooms, that's fine too. And I'm adding about 2 tablespoons. And they will, of course, absorb some of the moisture in the burger as well. Okay, so we now have turkey. Perfect. We're getting to the consistency where it's going to really stick together and make a great burger. Can everybody see that? Here we go. And I did add a little salt and a little pepper. Those are pretty traditional. And I think I'm going to put in some garlic. I use granulated garlic, which is a little heavier than garlic powder, and it's much tastier. So I'm going to put in about half a teaspoon of the granulated garlic. And if you wanted to, you could put some paprika in or even some chili powder. Just give it a little zing, a little more than the traditional salt and pepper that's usually in turkey. Come back here. Let's see how we do in making a patty. If your turkey and mixture at this point is a little too juicy, you can always add a little bit more of the rolls. So I'm going to see how this comes out. I'm going to turn on my pan so I get it a little warm. I don't want it, it's up on high or medium high. And let's see how this comes together. I might need to add a little more of the rolls. No, that's pretty good. It's juicy, but it's not dripping. So we have just a wee bit more juice, and we'll cook it up. Actually, I might add a little bit more of the other roll, just because it is quite juicy, and it won't take away from the juiciness of the burger, but I'm just going to add a little bit more. You could use breadcrumbs if you wanted to. But I like the rolls because these are the butter rolls, and they're yummy actually. Although I do prefer to use my own. I have a wonderful recipe for pumpkin spice muffins that go very well with this whole traditional dinner, or any other dinner most of the time. So I'm going to add a little bit more of that in just to absorb some of the liquid. Yeah, I think that's a little better consistency. Use your judgment. This is your intuition, same as I'm doing my intuition right now, using that. Does smell good. Okay. If anybody has any comments or questions, please let me know. You can do this with turkey. You can do this with chicken or any other fowl that's left. And let's see what our burger comes out like now. Back in there. I'm taking a little bit larger than a golf ball size and making it into a patty. And we'll take it over. Our pan is good and ready. No, maybe not. I should hear it sizzle shortly. And we'll take this over and work over there so you can see what I'm doing. Let's see. We'll get to our other camera. All right. Okay, the pan is beginning to heat up now, so I've got my ingredients right here, my little bowl of burger make. Turkey burgers. Something a little bit different after Thanksgiving. And there's about a 2.5-inch ball. So it's kind of double golf ball size. Here we go. And you don't have to worry about patting it together. It'll stick together eventually. I think you can probably hear it start to sizzle. There we go. All right, we'll make a little smaller one so we can make 4 of them. I would say that when you want to serve these, you could probably serve somebody 2 because they are little. As you can see, I'm not fussing with it. I'm going to move it over a little bit so we can fit 4 of them in here. There we go. And the last part. And if anybody's watching and you're afraid to get messy hands, that's too bad. That's part of the whole thing. And this one's a little bitty one, so that's fine. So there we have our burgers in the pan. I'm going to wash my hands and get back to the table. You can see them. They're starting to sizzle on the edges. So you want to let them, as I said, I use just a little bit of oil, not a lot. If you're not using a nonstick pan, you might want to use a little bit more oil. But since I'm using a fairly decent nonstick pan, that's what we're going to do. Now, let's see what else we can do with the rest of the leftovers. We've got, let's see, I do have some sweet potatoes. We can take the sweet potatoes and add some other sweet potatoes to them and make everything from brownies, which I have a recipe, which I will also post on, after we do the program, I will post it for YouTube on Dr. Jacalyn's on USA Global TV. You'll find it there. And let's see, I've got a little bit of regular potato and sweet potato in here, which I think I will take that. Wash my hand off again. And let's get another bowl out here and see what we can put together. Of course, you can always take the leftovers and do a complete meal again. But I think what I'm going to do this time is take my sweet potatoes and my regular potatoes, the white potato, and make a mix. And if you've never done this, it's kind of fun because you can mash everything. The sweet potatoes are already mashed. The white potatoes are already mashed, but the sweet potato hasn't been mashed yet. And if you're a traditionalist like I am, and my son, his favorite part of the traditional Thanksgiving meal was the mashed sweet potatoes with the you-know-what on top, the marshmallows. So what I'm going to do now is take these and mash up the sweet potatoes to go along with the regular potatoes. And I know there's somebody out there saying, ooh, well, try it. Because what I'm going to do with that, it makes a nice mix. And there's a couple of things that are common to both kinds of either sweet potatoes and yams, and that's butter. Here we go. They're mixing beautifully. I used about, I don't know, about a quarter cup of each. I'm going to get a little bit more of the regular potatoes, the mashed potatoes out here, and get some of my softened butter. Check on my little burgers there. Let's see how those are doing. I'll let you see in just a second. And I'm going to turn my range down a little bit because they are definitely browning. I'll just give you a little glimpse of that because I've turned them over and you can see where they're browned. And then we're going to continue with our mashed potatoes, our mashed sweets and mashed potatoes. We're going to add some butter and a bunch of herbs. So I'm taking a tablespoon of butter, and that is soft, as you can see. It plops right in there. I like to keep my butter at room temperature so that it's very usable. And let's get that out of the way. Here we go. And mix it right in with the potatoes, both the sweets and the regular potatoes, the white potato. Now it's getting a little bit on the dry side, so we've got to add something else to make it a little more juicy. Let's see what I have. Actually, this would be great just by itself and just heat it up. I'm going to add a little bit more butter. And this is what you can do as well at home. That's the fun part about this. Take whatever you have and do what feels and tastes good to you. That's the whole point of the intuitive cooking. And the way that I teach the cooking is up to you. Okay. And what I will do, we can also heat this up and make a patty out of this if you want to. I'm going to take a spatula to get the sides cleaned off. And I think I've got a little bit of scallion here. So what I'm going to do is finally chop up some more of the scallion, the green and the white part. And I'm going to keep an eye on those burgers because those are just about done. So we're going to leave that for a second and go back to the burgers. Oh, yeah. And let's put them on a plate. Oh, beautiful. Take our pan off. And there you have it. Turkey burgers. And we'll give it a taste. You can probably use some, I would actually forego something like ketchup and use something like either sriracha sauce or something with a little more pizzazz, just to give it a little more bite, a little more taste. And let's see how they came out. Here we go. They're almost the consistency of, say, a crab cake, something like that, with the chopped up meat rather than a ground meat. So it's a little different texture and a lot different flavor, and it's absolutely delicious. And so we're going to put that over here. Those are ready. And continue with our potato mix. I'm going to chop up the rest of the scallion because I need a little more juice in here. And it's amazing how far one little scallion will go, but it really does make a difference in the flavor and the consistency. So this is really what I want you to see, that you can take what's left of a meal and make something completely different from what you started with. There's our, whoop, let's chop these up a little bit more. If you want to, you can add a little garlic to the potatoes. Or actually what I'm going to add, since it's a sweet potato as well as a white potato, I'm going to add my scallions in. And just for fun, you could take something like Worcestershire sauce or a combination of things, but I'm going to use a little bit of balsamic dressing because it is sweet. Balsamic vinegar is something that I find has incredible flavor, and when you're cooking with it, it usually cooks off a lot of the aromatics from the vinegar, but the sweetness is what you're looking for. So I'm just going to put a drop or two, maybe about a teaspoon of the balsamic vinegar in with the potatoes and mix it well. And it could use some more butter, that's okay. Or we could use a little bit of olive oil. I'm just going to taste it first to see what the flavors are like. And for those of you who are interested, this is all experimental, just in case you hadn't realized it. And I might even throw some cranberry sauce next to this, but not right now. Okay. That's what I want, a spatula. And just to let you know for fun, my sweetie is a meat and potatoes guy. But since I've been cooking for him, he's experimented with all sorts of things. And he'll do what a lot of people do, is go, really? Okay. But what I find is, if you make something really taste great, then you've got a winner. And so I'm going to give this a taste before I put it in the pan. Great flavor combinations. So we put together, I'm going to put a little more of the balsamic in here. Okay. And make sure you mix it in. And of course, I'm going to be eating this, so I'm tasting with my fork. And I want to get it a little more juicy. Okay, and I'm frankly going to use the same pan. Let's see, there's a little piece of green onion on there. And add just a wee bit of olive oil. I love my olive oil. You could use avocado oil if you wanted to, with something that has a little less flavor. But I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make a great big patty of a potato pancake. Okay. Watch this one. Oh, it would help if I turned it on and warmed it up a little bit. Here we go. Gets a little sticky. And we've got enough to do 2 or 3 potato pancakes here. So we've gone from the traditional white potato and sweet potatoes. We've mashed them both together, added some balsamic vinegar and some chopped up scallion just for flavor, a little bit of salt, not much. And we're making little potato patties. Potato pancakes. They do tend to stick to your fingers. Okay. So we're making something completely different from all the traditional foods and trimmings. And the last one's going to be the old cranberry sauce, which is my favorite part of the meal. But I'm going to take the whole berry sauce and we're going to make a little bit more of a dessert out of it. Although you can serve it with all this. It does stick. There we go. Excuse me while I wash the messy paws. Yeah, let's see. This time I need a little soap. Okay. As I said, the potatoes did stick a little bit more to my hands than the other things. And now, for the final fun part, taking our leftovers and adding some other goodies to it, I'm going to take, here we go, we're starting to sizzle. And I'll let you look at those. It's really very simple. We just plopped them in the pan and have your spatula ready. It's a non-stick, so we're just going to move them around a little bit. And these will not need quite as much cooking time, I don't think. There we go. I've got it on a medium heat. And now I'm going to take my cranberry sauce, which is, give me just a second here to clean up a little bit. Since we've got turkey and dressing and just about everything here, all the ingredients, just want to give it a little cleanup. There we go. Okay, I'm going to take my cranberry sauce with a clean fork. And I do have some more of it, but this is about a 1/4 cup. Let's see, let's get back to the other camera. I've got my cranberry sauce in here. It's the whole berry sauce. And I have some leftover large grapes. Let's give this a wash. I have some great big grapes, black grapes that I'm going to take and cut into quarters and then chop them up a little bit more. It's almost like creating, well, we're going to create another dessert, actually. Put that in with the cranberries. We'll take grapes and cranberries. Let's see. And just chop them up a little bit more. And you can make this into a grape and cranberry sauce to use as a side dish, or you can use it like a dessert. You can actually, if you've never tried cranberries over something like a peach pie or even a pecan pie, the fruit on top is absolutely delicious. So I'm cutting up about an even amount, about a 1/4 cup of the grapes, keeping an eye on my potatoes patties that are going over there. Yep, they're about to be turned. Okay, now if you can't have fun doing this, you might as well not even bother. But I'm going to mix up my berries and see what the flavors are like. The black grapes and the cranberries, the cooked cranberries, are usually delicious together. And if you get really adventuresome, you can take this, and we don't really have time to do it, but what I've done before with the fruits like this is to take it and actually make a sauce out of it. You put it on in a pan, you add a little bit of either cranberry liqueur or maybe some vodka, and you can make a sauce. I'm going to see how this tastes together. Absolutely wonderful flavors. The grapes and the cranberries together, super. Let's toss over our patties. And these are a little bit on the mushy side, so be careful. There we go. I'm going to turn it off and let it cook on the other side. And meantime, I'm going to take my little turkey patties and move them around. And get ready. Well, I think we've done about all we can today, all we have time for. So here we have, remember we took the leftover turkey, chopped it up as fine as possible, diced it up really well, added some onion, added some scallions, and then we put in some of the leftover rolls. And then we took a little bit of salt and pepper and some garlic, put it all in there, and managed to put it in and make our lovely little patties. And we're going to add the sweet potato patties to it very shortly. I can show you that. And then here's dessert. And actually, if you're really adventuresome, take this as a sauce or just as it is and put it over some ice cream, some vanilla ice cream. Yummy. Great flavors from good foods will blend beautifully and make a wonderful mix for you. So keep that in mind when you have your leftovers. And remember that left is right. Left is right. If you're watching me, it's the other way around. And that's just a couple of the things that you can do with your leftovers from Thanksgiving or any dinner. And so please join us again next Friday on the United Kitchens. And it's at USA Global TV. And this is Ricki McKenna, chef and certified nutritionist with Ricki's Kitchen, as well as USA Global TV's United Kitchens. Please come back and join us next Friday. If you want to reach me, you can reach me at rickiskitchen.net. That's RICKISKITCHEN.net. And you can find my book, Yes You Can, Eat Well and Eat Right, on Amazon. If you want the spiral version, which really makes a lot of sense because it sits open when you're finding the recipes in there, and it's a lot easier to use, then get in touch with me at rickiskitchen.net, as well as on USA Global TV. You can find us on YouTube as well. So happy Thanksgiving again. I hope you all enjoyed it. And please, as I said, join us again next week. Have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you next Friday on the United Kitchens. Happy holidays.